I survived being caught in a mudslide. This story interested you. Come with me. It was May 2018, and my partner, Gabe Rosescu, and I were taking a road trip in his little Hyundai Elantra from my home in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, to visit friends in Nelson, British Columbia. It was our first trip together after 6 months of dating, meaning it would be an adventure on so many levels. At around 5:30 p.m., we were driving along the Crowsnest Highway, a steep winding road that cleaves through the southern Canadian Rockies. I was texting my mother when I happened to look up in time to see an enormous tree in front of us on the highway, standing straight up. It was being pushed along by a torrent of mud that was gobbling everything in its path. We didn't know about the recent flooding in the area, and now we were literally in the thick of it. Gabe and I shot each other a look and said, "Oh, shoot." Understatement of the century. Within seconds, our car was somersaulting 900 feet down the cliffside. That I don't know how long we were unconscious, but I woke up to the sound of Gabe moaning. He was slumped over the steering wheel, and his blood was everywhere. The car had landed on a small ledge amid trees that had come down with the slide. On one side of us was the mountain. On the other, a steep drop of about 3,000 feet into a river. I tried opening my door and was overcome by excruciating chest pain. I'd later learn that I'd suffered a broken sternum. In addition, my left ankle had been crushed, and my foot was practically turned sideways. Gabe had broken his nasal and cheek bones, as well as his orbital bones, leaving him blind in his left eye. Parts of his skull were crushed, and his scalp was nearly ripped off, with the passenger and driver's side doors crushed shut, and my window impassable. The only way out was through the driver's side window. Neither of us remembers doing it, but somehow we both managed to crawl out of that wreckage. We sat on a log and considered our options. We had no phone signal, and it was 900 feet straight up back to the highway. All we could do was yell for help. Incredibly, someone responded. For bystanders had spotted our car and were wading through the mud to us. Once they arrived, 2 of the men helped Gabe shimmy up the hill. Because of my injured foot, the other 2 had to carry me, with one man grasping me below my armpits and the other holding my legs. It was tough going. They went as far as they could until one of them sank into the mud. They then passed me off to the other 2 men who'd been helping Gabe. Those men carried me while the unstuck man pulled his partner out of the mud. The second pair carried me until one of them sank into the mud and they passed me back off to the first 2. This went on for about an hour. Carry me. Sink into the mud. Hand me off. Pull the other out. By the time we reached the highway, at around 7 p.m., Gabe was in shock. He kept slipping in and out of consciousness. When the EMTs arrived soon after, they let us kiss goodbye from our stretchers before loading us into separate ambulances. I didn't think I'd ever see my boyfriend again. I went to a nearby hospital, and Gabe was eventually airlifted to a trauma hospital 260 miles away. Along the way, they kept shocking him to keep him awake so he wouldn't slip into a coma. Gabe would be hospitalized for 6 weeks following surgeries to reattach his scalp. I was released 10 days after my surgeon reconnected the main artery in my left foot. I'll walk with a limp for the rest of my life, and Gabe permanently lost the vision in his left eye. Otherwise, we're fine. Before this all happened, we were happy-go-lucky people. Oddly enough, the accident and improbable rescue has made us even more positive. We're grateful to be alive. The experience also bonded us as a couple, and we haven't stopped taking road trips. A year after the accident, we drove back to the Crowsnest Highway and gave the finger to the mudslide. We are producing videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays here on the channel. If you liked it, don't forget to leave your like and activate the notification bell to stay on top of all the news. I'll wait for you in the next video. But before leaving the channel, let me tell you, just one more story. I'll leave it at the end for you to click and watch.